Hi everyone, welcome to Creepy Nibs. I'm Count Chocula. Today's ink review time. Robert Oster Motor Oil. I have this in sample form from Van Ness Pen Shop, which is a kind of brown color. Hints of olive green. Stuff like that. Here's the coloring swatch. The only thing I have to compare it to is Platinum Classic Sepia Black. This kind of has like a black, greenish, matte shine, I guess you could call it. It's not sheen. I wouldn't call that sheen because it doesn't sheen. It's not sheeny. This one has a similar thing. This is definitely lighter and more green. This is darker and more brown. Here's the bleach test. It turned blue, like a copper patina. Looks very pretty. I like it. Completely eliminated it in these spots. This is with a dip pen. Chromatography. The normal one. Whoa, that is looking fluorescent on camera. My bad. I'm not going to fix that because the ink looks right. So imagine this less bonkers. It's still bonkers, but it's not quite as like, yo, pink. So let us zoom. Tiny bit. Just the normal one. There's a darker band of pink at the bottom. Goes into a lighter pink, gathers into that same pink again. Then it goes into a yellow, and then a blue. In between the yellow and the blue, there is green, and it goes into orange. It is a spectrum to an extent. Next one, no difference. There's no change, really. I wouldn't call it a change. This might be a little bit darker, but it's imperceptible. Here's the one with acetone. It looks very interesting. Yes, there's like a bit of blue down at the bottom, and it goes into this dusty purple. It's very fascinating. I enjoy it. Pens used for the paper test. This is a Wingsung 3003. The fine replacement nib. This is a Wingsung 601A with a very wet, fine nib because I wettened it and needed to smooth it a little bit. I think I kind of messed it up a little, but hey, it's fine. It writes nice. So, that's that. Beginning with the paper tests. Clairefontaine, 90 grams per square meter. It looks black, for the most part, but if you put it next to a black ink, you would easily be able to tell that this is a brown, olive green type of shade. It's very nice. You get a small amount of shading in the printing on this fine, slightly drier nib, and very little shading on this very wet, fine nib. The Wingsung 3003 took 26 seconds to dry, and the broader, wetter nib only took 13, and I am deeply confused by that. You can see this is a darker and more consistent color, and this is shady, very pretty. I enjoy it. Swatch looks quite interesting. I like this color very much. Water test. It left something behind, such as that dark pink you saw in the chromatography, but it dyed the page in like a peachy color. But it is still slightly legible, maybe not with the drier nib. With this one, you might be able to get something. I notice no feathering, there's no spread, there's no bleed, but a gentle amount of echo in some places. Fabriano. Echo Qua. This is 85 grams per square meter. shading is still present in the 3003. It is still very hit or miss with the 601A. This ink was very smooth to write with. I had no issues in that department. I like this ink with the texture of this paper. It adds a more vintage quality to it. I like it very much. The 3003 took 19 seconds. The other one took 15. Interesting yet again that these dry times are much longer than these dry times. Swatch again looks very nice. You don't get as much of that matte shine that you did on the Clairefontaine though. Water test did similar. Came brown and this peachy pink color. It's very pretty. I noticed no spread, no bleeding, no feathering, and a gentle amount of echo. Rhodia, 80 grams per square meter. It performed the same as it did on the other papers. Though this might have been going a little bit dry, I am not sure, but the shading is much more noticeable. I messed up here. 18 seconds in the 3003, 18 seconds in the 601A. This absolutely boggles the mind. Swatch looks very nice. Water test kind of exploded a little bit. I'm not sure why, but it did. Looks more feathery and more ugly, but it releases the same colors, except this is a bit more brown. Notice no feathering, no bleed, no spread. That is me scratching through the paper with the back of the nib, though this might have not been. I'm not sure what happened there. But there is certain echo. Tomoe River, 68 grams per square meter. This looks really, really nice on this paper. It brings out a lot more of the green. It's not looking completely accurate on camera, but it's close enough. Matte shine is far more prominent than it has been. Shading is more prominent than it was on the others too. 27 seconds in the 3003. 26 seconds in the 601A. Again, mind-boggling. Water tested absolutely terrible. Don't get it wet on this paper. I noticed no bleed, no feathering, no spread, very little echo, and that matte shine that I was telling you about before. Tomoe River, 52 grams per square meter. It looks very nice on this paper. I highly enjoy it. Again, brings out more of the olive green. 26 seconds in the 3003 and 28 seconds in the 601A. Boggles the mind. That shine looks more green. Very interesting. Water tested did bad, but not as bad as it did on its brother paper. I noticed no bleed, no feathering, no spread, mild echo. There you go. HP Premium Laserjet, 32-pound paper. I hated writing on this paper. I always hate writing on this paper. But the shading in that Wingsung 3003 is absolutely marvelous. It took 12 seconds to dry in the Wingsung 3003 and 8 seconds to dry in the Wingsung 601A. Smear test was interesting. The swatch does not look very nice, and the water test does not look very nice either. Though you can see some of that blue there, that's very interesting. It exploded, but it's still vaguely legible. I noticed a mild amount of spread, no feathering, no bleed, and no echo to be perceived except in the dark swatch. Shitty 20-pound copy paper. This looks awful and I hate it. Though it's not quite as bad as some of the others we've seen. But that's not exactly saying much. There was a gentle amount of feathering, certain bleed, super bad feathering in some parts. And it looks just absolutely awful. You get none of the green anymore. It is purely brown. 4 seconds to dry in the 3003, 4 seconds to dry in the 601A. I don't understand what's happening with these dry times. The swatch looks like absolute garbage. I'm not going to tell you what this color reminds me of on this paper. The water test is absolutely horrific and I never want to see it again. It started to act a little bit like the chromatography paper. And the texture of this paper here is absolutely awful to touch and I hate it. Don't get it wet on this paper. Or better yet, don't use this paper. It's bad. There is definite bleed, definite feathering, definite echo in the parts where it didn't bleed, and it's disgusting. It's awful. I hate it. Staples filler paper. It wasn't bad on this paper. The shading is marvelous in that 601. That is gorgeous. I enjoy that very much. It took 17 seconds to dry in the 3003 and 14 to dry in the 601A. Water test did not do very well, but it did better than it did on a lot of the other papers. Very nice. There is certain echo and near bleed in many parts. There is a mild amount of that matte shine we saw earlier. Maruman Mnemosyne 80 grams per square meter. As always, a dream to write on. The shading is fantastic. Absolutely marvelous. I thoroughly enjoyed this ink. I may eventually purchase myself a bottle of it, and I will use it often and loudly. 25 seconds in the 3003, and 10 seconds in the 601A. Again, mysterious frickin' dry times. That swatch is very nice. There's more. As I was saying before my camera decided to slap me in the face, there's more of that green-black shine in the swatch there. Looks very nice. Water test did not do very well. In certain parts, it seemed to act like the chromatography. However, the water tests on the previous papers were done when the ink was dry for at least 8 hours. This was done with it dry for maybe 15 minutes. Water resistance is bad. It's bad. It's bad. There is no bleed. There was no feathering. There's a small amount of echo. And again, that small amount of sheen-ish stuff, I guess. So, this was Robert Oster, Motor Oil, a very interesting ink that I think you should try. You may very much like it. I had fun. I hope you had fun. This was fun. So have a wonderful night and punch every Nazi.